then in the bottom diagram, what they've got is on the vertical axis is the household light vehicle travel in billions of kilometres. And then they show you on the horizontal axis from 2015 to 2035. The black line at the top is their reference line of where we would go in this diagram, but for the sort of interventions that are being recommended by the Climate Change Commission and others. The blue line is the Climate Change Commission's, it's their path. The purple shaded area is what they call impact of mode shift. And I've scaled off their diagram, and that's only about 7 or 8% of the total distance traveled. So it's only a 7 or 8% mode shift, which I think is could be more ambitious. And I've told the Climate Change Commission they should be more ambitious on mode shift. And so, but on the slide, I've also put there the targets they've got of 50% light vehicle travel and electric vehicles by 2035, and those percentage increases for walking, cycling, and public transport. Next, thanks, Andy. So I'd like to talk about, so what are we thinking about and doing in the Wellington region about targets for mode share shift? So in the Greater Wellington Regional Land Transport Plan, which is being adopted now and will come into effect on the 1st of July and for the next 10 years. And that has in it a bold target of a 40% increase in regional mode share from public transport and walking and cycling by 2030. That is a bold target, bolder than anything else in the country. And we also have a target of a 35% reduction in transport generated carbon emissions by 2030. So just to illustrate what this means, I've got a couple of slides here, and I'm showing you what's the current and the future mode share for vehicles entering the CBD in the morning peak between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. So the two diagrams on the left of your screen are showing where the measurements are made on the left-hand diagram of walking, cycling, and walking and cycling and public transport. And the right-hand side is showing where the the right-hand side is public transport, where they are being measured. And then the histogram shows, and the vertical axis, it's the number of people crossing the CBD cordon between that peak period of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. In the morning. And you see that the histograms start with 2004. By 2019, that's the latest recorded distribution of modes. So from 2004 to 2019 is actually observed, measured mode share of vehicles coming into the CBD in the morning peak. From 2024 to 2030, those are projected mode share shifts, and they have come about because I asked Andy Ford from our transport analytics group in the Greater Wellington Regional Council to do a scenario that would show how we could deliver our bold goal of 40% increase in regional mode share for public transport at active modes by 2030. So those are potential future scenarios which he has done for me for this presentation. So this is the first time that this information has been made public, and I hope it's useful to your conference and to the panel discussion that follows this presentation. Now, the different color codes, the brown are the motor vehicle occupants, the gray is the rail passengers, the orange is the bus and future mass rapid transit passengers, the blue is pedestrian, and the green is cyclists. Okay, next slide. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, so this is just presenting the same data in a different way. So this is showing what this scenario of 40% increase in walking, cycling, and PT into the Wellington CBD at the morning peak, 7 to 9 a.m. by 2030 would look like. So you can see again the curves between 2004 and 2019 are actually measured. in the Corden counts they do. The curves from 2019 to 2030 are what has been projected for the scenario that I asked them to develop. And on the top left there, I've got what the actual increase of the various various modes are by 2030. That's from 2019 to 2030. So walking trips in the blue increased by 70% from currently 12,000 persons walking to 20,500 by 2030. That's a major shift. And you can see the other trips there. Cycling trips increased by 90%, although they're much smaller than pedestrian. The public transport trips, rail and bus, increased by 45%. And the car trips, the orange on the right, you can see that the car trips decreased by 40%. So that's the future trends and shifts that we are projecting through this analytical work that's been done by our analytics team. Okay, next slide, thanks. So the question is, what would it take to achieve that 40% mode shift by 2030? And so I'd like to suggest to you some key actions that we could all take, and these I know are key topics for this workshop. So just so that you're aware, that visual on the right hand side of the screen is what it's projected that the Jevois Quay will look like once mass rapid transit comes into effect, and which is projected to be around 2028. And so you'll see mass rapid transit vehicles in the front left and in the distance coming towards us, and also space for road vehicles as well as pedestrians. Okay, next slide. Right, so the first priority that I'm suggesting is making pedestrians the top strategic priority. And to illustrate that, I've got a couple of diagrams here. The left-hand one is from our Greater Wellington Regional PT plan, and that's showing on the vertical axis is strategic priorities, and on the right horizontal axis is cost. And so you'll see that walking of all of those is the highest priority and the lowest cost, and cars are the lowest priority and the highest cost. And on the right-hand side of the screen is the what's called the sustainable transport hierarchy, and this is used around the world, but it's also in the, for example, the Wellington Urban Growth Plan has this, and we use it in Greater Wellington Regional Council. So the top priority is the base of the pyramid, that is pedestrians, and then the decreasing order of priority after pedestrians is cyclists, public transport, moving freight, and private vehicles. Next, okay, a second action area that I'm suggesting is understanding the different perspectives. So, for example, around children and young people, it's, I think, around giving them confidence and safety. For the professionals, we want to inspire and support them taking active choices like walking or running or cycling to work. For the people with mobility challenges, we want to establish universal design everywhere with accessibility in mind. Next. So a third action area, I think, is around improving the pedestrian experience. So in the Wellington region, our region has already the highest combined active mode and public transport mode share across New Zealand, and currently 21% of all the regional journey to work trips are made using active modes. Half of the 92,500 people that travel into the Wellington Central use public transport, walk or cycle. And you saw in those scenarios that we did that that will be increased to about 70% by 2030, according to our scenarios. And so the way we can strengthen this, I think, is through these areas of influencing travel behaviour. Let's get Wellington moving, working with city and district councils on parking and land use policies, and making public transport more desirable. Next. So I'm now going to pick up those ideas. So the fourth action area I'm suggesting is around influencing travel behaviour, and Greater Wellington's travel choice team does some fantastic work promoting active modes of transport. For example, we have a move-in march where we get 37,000 students across 132 schools participating in a moving march feature of getting kids using active modes. We do workplace travel action. So, for example, we did a work with Wellington City Council and Waka Kotahi recently on a travel plan for the regional hospital. We have a pedal ready program, which last year we had 5,000 kids and 233 adults taught in the last year. And then another key issue around influencing travel behaviour, in my view, is congestion charge. Probably the most significant tool we have in the tool, or we want to have in the toolbox to change mode shift away from cars. And yesterday, Mayor Andy Foster and I presented to the Select Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on their inquiry into congestion charges, and we advocated that they should be made available for this region as well as Auckland and other centres. Next. So the fifth area is I'm suggesting let's get Wellington moving. And yes, it is moving now. We've got it moving again. And the three partners in that are Greater Wellington, Wellington City Council and Waka Kotahi. Our mantra is moving more people with fewer vehicles. And you'll see here a diagram which I've taken out of the Let's Get Wellington Moving off the website, which shows people entering the central city in the morning peak in 2016 and 2036. And the top light blue turquoise colour is for walking, and you show how that's increasing between 2016 and 2036. Next. So another key feature of Let's Get Wellington Moving is around this work on the Golden Mile. And you'll see on the left of the diagram a artist's impression of what Lambton Quay will look like. In case you don't recognise it, that's looking towards the northwest with the Midland Park on the right-hand side of the view. So it's largely pedestrianised, but there is space for buses on the left-hand side of the roadway as we can see it. So may not be obvious, but there's a bus coming towards us on the left-hand side of this artist's impression. So we have supported the transform option, which is the pedestrianisation with buses and access to for other vehicles only for service vehicles on the Golden Mile. And the right-hand side is an artist's impression of what Thornton Quay and Hutt Road will look like under the new proposals. So you'll see much better provision for walking and separated cycleways as well as public transport. Next. So sixth action is around working with territorial authorities. And here they have such an important role in areas such as walking as a local activity, and the intensification, the sort of decisions that the City Council was making last night about their city spatial plan and intensification in the CBD area and the urban fringes area is really critical to making this a more walkable city. And down the bottom there, I've got supporting active travel to public transport. 25% of people who park at railway stations live only a kilometre away. So we want to encourage them to actually walk it for their health, or go by cycle, or in future we're looking at public transport on demand. So you could be picked up by a shuttle from your home and delivered to the station. And compact urban design is actually a crucial issue in the future for our walkable city. Next. So this area is about making public transport more desirable. So that has to be done with designing public transport with everybody in mind. And that you'll see the new electronic boards in the railway station in that top photo. And in the bottom photo is the proposed mass rapid transit on Taranaki Street, where you can see, as well as the, in this photo, light rail, you can see wide footpaths and separated cycleways. And so that's the improved bus network and the mass rapid transit are key parts of that. Next. So to sum up, this is what I'm suggesting to you as the summit, that these are the sort of summary of key actions that we all need to commit to deliver on these bold goals about mode shift to walking, cycling and public transport. So one is around compact urban design and intensification. The second bullet there is we want a step change in public transport, and that'll be delivered by mass rapid transit. Third point, we want demand management, and congestion charge is the key tool for that. Fourth point is we want to give pedestrian priority, like less waiting time at crossings. We want to invest in safe walking infrastructure. We want fewer vehicles and lower speeds. The second last bullet point there is about promoting active travel modes, and the last one about climate and health benefits. So the question is, if we do all of those things, will the increase in mode share of walking into Wellington CBD at the morning peak increase from 15% or 12,000 people to 23%, 25,000 people by 2030, which is the scenario that we've developed. So can we do it? I look forward to hearing your views on that, but my view is, next slide. Can we do it? Yes, absolutely we can do it. So this is a slide of what it will look like in 2030, and you'll see plenty of opportunities for active modes, the odd electric vehicle, and mass rapid transit's just over to the left of the picture. So that's what the future is going to look like, and I look forward to hearing your views on that. So thank you very much. That's the end.